There are probably a few of you out there wondering, now tell me again, why was a photographer chosen to talk to us? Look, the only reason I'm here is to share with you the best that I've learned in my life. And the best that I've learned in my life revolves around the nature of creativity. Creativity. It's one of the best tools we have for dealing with change. It's one of the best tools we have for finding those new perspectives on our life, on our work, that really assure us that the best is yet to come. They sent me up to British Columbia, to the Selkirk Mountains. Incredible area, and they asked me to do a romantic little story on a romantic village down there by the lake, and I'm wandering around looking for romantic images, and I heard about 3 men, all in their mid to late 80s, who lived in that village, who play golf every morning. And I thought, perfect, you know? So I'm out there before dawn. I'm driving to the golf course. I could see this image of them putting out on a backlit green with the sun breaking over the mountains. And I came around a corner to the road. The golf course was closed, a big gate. Okay, patience, Dewitt. So I waited. Sun came up, the light got bad, but you know, finally a guy came out, opened the gate. I said, hey, where are those old men? He said, hey, those men are really old. He said, they don't get out here till noon. Okay, Dewitt, wait, patience. I waited, the light got really bad, but finally at noon, out they came. And they were great, you know, they were full of life and joie de vivre, but they were really old. And I was terrible. My photographs were awful. They got worse. I was shooting hospice posters, you know, it wasn't happening. And it wasn't fair because these guys had a great vision and I wanted to capture it. So I kept trying to pay attention, to listen to all the ways that life was speaking to me. And finally, one of the guys hit a chip shot out of the green. The other guy looked around and said, nice shot, Jack. And I had it, you know, I had it. It was all in the curve of that ankle and the crook of that elbow. And the fence that told you weren't at Pebble Beach. The fact that the greenskeeper had died 12 years ago, that helped, you know. Paying attention. We all know what it means. It means being a good listener. And the juice came back in the camera, the passion came back in the heart, and the vision came back in the eye. And by the time the sun set that night, I got my shot. I was at a dinner the other night and there were little place cards and mine said, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. God, that's a good one. I think we can do great work in this world and still have a great time. In fact, those people who I think are doing the best work really are having a good time, really have allowed themselves to fall in love with what they do. So I asked my intellect to train my technique, and then I asked my intellect to put me in the place of most potential. The place of most potential. So when I'm doing a book on the state of California, it's my intellect that finds out that the Balboa Junior lifeguards all wear red suits and they all practice every Saturday morning. It's my intellect that gets me down to that pier, puts me there with the right lens and the right focus at the right time. Gets each one of those kids to sign a release, you know. And then my intellect starts listening to my intuition. Intuition. I don't care what we call it. The still, small voice within, the force of Obi-Wan. If we're not listening to that little voice, along with our intellect, we're going to miss a very important piece of our creativity. Because what our intuition tells us is what's wanting to happen in a situation. And I had that come so clearly to me one night when I stood beside the great fountain geyser in Yellowstone. And as the sun began to set, the geyser began to go off. And it was just unspeakably beautiful. And I kept photographing and dancing and you know, crying out until that last marvelous apparition had risen up from the geyser and disappeared. And I thought, you know, there are probably 30,000 people in the park and they all ought to be right with me watching this incredible miracle. And then I realized that it really didn't matter. Because that banquet, that miracle is out there every day. not just at Yellowstone at sunset, but every day in everything we do, to fill us to overflowing, to connect us with our passion, to infuse us with creativity and with love. See that vision, my friends, and seize the day. Thank you very much. Thank you.